Hey guys, I'm Umbusdata, and welcome to another review. This time, we have the one, the only, The Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 8, Made to Suffer. And it's a sad day. Gotta wait 2 months for a new episode of The Walking Dead. 2 months, gotta wait 2 months. I know. I'm just upset as you guys. Mid-season breaks, not the best thing, but better than... it's better than only having a really short season, so I'll accept mid-season breaks as long as the overall season's longer, and we got way more to go further in this season of The Walking Dead, so I can't wait for the new episodes to come, and especially with the end of this episode. Great episodes. One of my favorite episodes of The Walking Dead has to be this episode. So much action, so many things were revealed, so much stuff happened, period. Amazing. And before I get into this review, just want to let you guys know that it does contain spoilers. So if you don't want to know what happened, just go away and don't come back. No, I'm just kidding. Go back, watch it, and come back. So, let's start off this review. Right off the bat, we get revealed that Tyrese is going to be in the show, and we see him, and he has his own group. He has his signature hammer. Awesome. I love Tyrese's character. So excited for him to be in The Walking Dead. If you guys don't know who Tyrese is, he's actually a character in The Walking Dead comic book. And he's a pretty big character. And I really like his character, though, so I'm really excited to see him in the show. Now, he has a pretty big group with him. And, one of them, obviously, he knows one of them personally. And I'm not sure how they're related to him. If it's just a friend, maybe it's his daughter. Although, the woman that he was with, she didn't look young enough to be his daughter. So I'm assuming it's his wife. I could be wrong, but I'm just assuming that. But it was so awesome to see him with his signature weapon, his choice, a hammer. So it's just so cool to finally see Tyrese in there. Man, Tyrese. We lose T-Dog, but we get Tyrese. No, I'm just joking, but man, it's just so awesome to see him in there. And then Tyrese's group goes into the prison. We don't know this, but there was a giant hole in the prison right in the back, so they could walk right in. So that's going to pose a little bit of a problem, but it was really cool. And it's cool that right off the bat they're going to kind of intersect with Rick's group, and we're not just gonna see let's go Rick, then we'll go to Tyrese. It's not like that. Right, he gets right into Rick's story, goes right into the prison right away. So that's something cool that we actually get to see. All right, now we switch to Woodbury, and basically the whole episode takes place in Woodbury as expected, because basically everyone's there. But it starts off in Woodbury, and we see the governor, and he's with Penny, and he's playing music, singing to Penny. And it was kind of disturbing just seeing him, he was kind of enjoying himself singing to Penny. And it almost looked like he was, training her to look at him, oh, you're not getting food unless you look at me, kind of training, a zombie to do that. I understand it's it's his daughter, but still, you have to accept at some point that your daughter's dead, just leave it at that, but of course he doesn't. We go to Glenn. Glenn and Maggie are in a room basically by themselves, and Glenn steps up. These last couple episodes, Glenn has really become a man. And it's just so cool to see his character even develop further. And I have trouble saying further. I don't know why. It was really cool to see that. And you know what? Glenn has been one of my favorite characters since I first read the first couple issues of The Walking Dead. So I'm a really big fan of Glenn, and I'm happy to see him get a little more screen time and see his character develop even further. But we actually see him. He rips off the arm of a zombie, rips out the bone out of the arm, and cracks the bone in half, uses it as a knife. What? That's awesome. Never thought of that ever. And then Merle comes to grab Glenn and Maggie, and Maggie goes up and stabs one of the guys right in the neck with the the bone knife thing. It was just so cool. But, of course, Merle kind of gets them and pins them down. They're going to go execute Glenn and Maggie. So, I really don't want to see them die, but they basically want to kill them before Andrea finds out. Because if Andrea sees Maggie and Glenn, she's obviously going to know that the governor is doing something here. So, they want to kill them before she finds out. And basically, this whole episode, it was really a thing of we can't let Andrea find out that Rick's here, that Michonne's here, but she does find out that Michonne's in Woodbury, that she's back, but, you know what? She doesn't really find out until the end of the episode, so we'll get to that, but keep going with the flow here. And so, yeah, Glenn and Maggie are going to get executed, and Rick's group is right around the corner. They start throwing smoke everywhere. This is the smoke episode. They had so many smoke grenades. It's not even funny. Like, at one point they covered Woodbury in smoke grenades. Seriously. But it's just really cool. So they kind of throw the smoke grenades everywhere, distract everyone, grab Glenn and Maggie. So we know Glenn and Maggie are safe now, and I'm really happy to see that. Like I said, I really would not want Glenn to die at all. So it was cool to see them get saved. Basically after that, Michonne kind of goes off on her own, and Rick doesn't like that like one bit. But I don't know. And then at that point, we see Woodbury basically in panic. Everyone's running around, all the citizens, they're like all scared and stuff. And you know what's, this term is thrown out a lot, and I kind of found it kind of funny that the governor referred to Rick's group and everyone that's causing trouble, that he referred to them as terrorists. And it's just kind of, it's interesting to see the governor talk about his enemies, because he puts it in the perspective like he's always right. So just to see him call them terrorists, it was kind of, I don't know, it was cool to see it kind of in his perspective. But, anyway, Michonne goes to the governor's little office, and she sits in his chair, and she's just basically waiting for him to come, and like has this, like, her face is all sweaty, just waiting, like this angrily look. And that's a problem I have with this episode. Only one problem. In the comic, the governor basically tortures Michonne, so she has a reason to go back to the governor and get revenge. Here, she really doesn't. I mean, why would she go back to kill the governor? Because he lied to her? Like, okay, wow, I don't think that's a really good reason. Okay, well, maybe because it's, she's seen that he's like this evil guy, tricking everyone. Still, it's not a good reason to go and kill a guy. And the only other reason is because she knows that he killed a bunch of people, but still, why would you go? Like, it just doesn't add up to me. They're playing from the comic. In the comic, Michonne goes back to take revenge on the governor. Basically the same thing, but it just doesn't really make sense. So, I don't know. So anyway, now Rick. So basically in Woodbury now is Rick, Daryl, Oscar, and Michonne. So they're all running around with guns, with machine guns, smoke everywhere. They're running around Woodbury, shooting everyone. There's gunfire everywhere. It's basically an all-out war. And Rick's about to shoot a guy, and he looks at the guy, and it's Shane. And Shane's walking up to him with a gun. Rick shoots him, goes up to him, and it's not Shane. So he was hallucinating, and at that point we're like, okay, Rick was talking on the phone. He was talking to dead people. He's a little insane, but let's just put that. Let's put that aside. He's okay now. Then he hallucinates again, and it kind of questions his mental stability at this point. We kind of assume that he's okay now, because the phone was basically a product of his wife's death, but now we see that, he's still hallucinating, so I don't know how that's going to go with that, but it'd be really cool if if he had, not flashbacks, if he was hallucinating and he's seen Shane, like, multiple times from this point on. It'd be cool just to see him kind of, like, do a double take, and was that Shane? Like, it was kind of cool to see that. Then, sad moment, Oscar is killed. So I don't like when anyone dies in the show, especially when it's someone in Rick's group. And I felt kind of bad for Oscar, because at this point, Rick trusted him. He was basically part of the group. He was there, and then he gets shot and killed. I mean, come on, such a cool guy. Oh well, he's dead. And Merle and Daryl are shooting at each other, and they don't even realize it because of all the smoke. So that was kind of ironic too. Then we go back to the prison, and Herschel, Carl, Beth, everyone that's there, they hear screaming in the prison. So Carl wants to go find out what it is, because, what would my dad do? He'd go see what it is. He's kind of stepping up, taking the position as, like, the man of the prison, I guess. And he goes to see what the screaming is all about, and he finds Tyrese's group, Tyrese, all his group and everything. And at this point, one of Tyrese's members in his group has been bit and is, like, dying. So Carl basically brings him back to where they're at, and he kind of settles down with them. But we jump back to Woodbury at this point, and Michonne finds the governor's, like, TV's tanks with the zombie heads in it, and then she finds Penny. And at first, Michonne thinks that Penny is, like, not dead, like, she's not a zombie. Michonne actually thinks that she's just like a normal little girl that the governor's like, I don't know, put straitjacket on and thing over her head. So she's like, oh, come here, don't worry. And then she finds out she's a zombie. And she's about to slash Penny's head off, and the governor walks in. He has a gun to Michonne, is like, don't hurt my little girl, please. And he's like begging. He's like almost crying. He puts the gun away. Like, you can see that he really doesn't want to. And Michonne, of course, stupid Michonne, takes a sword and stabs it right through Penny's head. And her sword comes out Penny's mouth. Gruesome moment right there just to see that. And the governor just goes, he just snaps. You know, he's already snapped, but he even snaps even more. And Michonne and the governor have like an all-out fight. I mean, a fight. Governor like smacks Michonne's head off the wall like 10 times. The governor grabs Michonne's head and throws her into the fish tank. Breaks, there's water everywhere. The zombie head's on the floor. Michonne's badly hurt. I mean, she would have been knocked out if this was real, but of course not. And another big reveal in this episode, Michonne grabs a piece of glass, stabs it in the governor's eye. Now that's kind of like an homage to the comics too, because she actually kind of does the same thing. Almost, she basically stabs the governor in the eye in the comics too, but not in the same way. So in the comics too, the governor has an eye patch, which we kind of see with the governor in the show too, but not to the same like extent. But it was cool to kind of see it tying with the comics, and he gets stabbed. And the glass, you know, she picks up a piece of glass from the fish tanks and stabs the governor in the eye, and the glass looks so real in his eye, like, and he was just like all out. It looked like he was in pain, man. And basically Andrea walks in at this point, and she sees Michonne, and she's like, what? And she has the gun pointed to her, but she kind of just lets her walk away. And I think it was understood, like, I don't want to kill you, basically. Even though like, Andrea knows she should, but she doesn't. So that was kind of cool, too. And basically we see the governor just hugging, crying, and holding Penny's, like, double dead body. So it was kind of, and it looked like he was actually, like, really sad. Like, I mean, it was, like, truthfully, he was hurt. And I think that was basically the last shred of humanity that the governor had, even though it really isn't, because it's a zombie. You know, his daughter's a zombie, so, I mean, at that point, you basically don't even have any humanity left, even there. So even further, he has nothing left. Now he's going to be like the governor in the comics. Harsh, like, cruel, and we see that too. So, after that, basically, go to the prison for a quick scene, and Carl locks Tyrese's group in a cell. Similar to what they did with the Oscar and Axel, you know, when they first found them. And, you know, some of Tyrese's group is complaining, like, come on, what are you doing? And Tyrese is like, no, just let the man go. And he basically calls Carl, like, man. So, you know, I don't know if he was kind of, like, kissing up to him or just, like, showing respect to him. I'm not sure. But Tyrese is a cool dude, man. I'm going to love seeing more of him. But so they're kind of, like, closed in on themselves now. And then we go back to Woodbury for the last couple minutes of the show, and so they patch up the governor, and he doesn't really have an eye patch, but he has like the medical gauze on his eye, so it's like a white, it's not paper, but like a white, you know, gauze on his eye, so it's not really an eye patch, but it's similar to that, so it was kind of cool to see that. But I would have like really preferred it if he had an eye patch, just because he would look more like the comic, but you know, I can't always get what I want. So, and you know, Andrea sees the fish tanks and the heads in it, and she's like, what is that? And then the governor kind of makes up another lie and says, oh, it's to prepare myself for the horrors outside. We know that's a lie, but that's a good cover up, and I think the governor's really good at covering up, you know, his mistakes and like his reasoning for all this stuff. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. And then we see Rick, and he basically does not trust Michonne at this point. He takes her sword away from her. Is like, I don't know whether to trust you or not. So, you know, that's kind of see a trust issue there. We see that, and you know, in the comics, Rick and Michonne, they're very close. I mean, they're like almost like a brother and sister type thing. So I don't know how that's gonna work out with that. I hope it's the same thing in the TV show from this point on. But then we find out that the governor turns on Merle, and the governor basically says Merle's part of these terrorists. He let them in. Look, his brother is one of the terrorists, and they captured Daryl. So the Daryl is in the hands of the governor now, and it kind of ends off on that, and, you know, the crowd is screaming, kill him, kill him. So we don't know what's going to happen. But AMC kind of spoiled a little bit of what's going to happen in 2 months because the preview for next episode showed Daryl like running in the woods, so we basically assumed Daryl got out alive. My prediction, I don't think Merle's going to live. I think Merle's going to die next episode, so when the mid-season break continues, I think Merle's going to die. But I'm pretty sure Daryl's going to stay alive. You know, he's a fan favorite. I mean, if they kill him, what do they got left? They got, they still got everyone left, but I think a lot of people would stop watching if Daryl died. I mean, he is a big character, but man, 2 months we got to wait for a new episode. Oh, well, man. But you know what? I can wait. I waited for last season 2 for the mid-season break, so I'm good, you know what I mean? So this would be the time to rewatch season 1 and 2 up to this point, so yeah, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at UnblessedData, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.